Om Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. As you know, the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is about Tvam, the Jiva. It's called Tvam Pada Shatkam. And we are in the middle 6 chapters, and it is called Tat Pada Shatkam. So, there is a big leap, quite a dramatic jump from the Jiva Shatkam to Ishvara Shatkam. Because this middle 6 chapters is all about Ishvara Swarupaha, Ishvara Bhaktihi, and Ishvara Anugraha, Kripa. That is, how do we tap into Ishvara's Anugraha and what is the nature of that Ishvara? So, Ishvara, you know, is defined by the Upanishads as the Jagat Karanam, yeah, the creator. And so, in the last chapter, what we saw is that Krishna introduced the twofold Prakriti of Ishvara. Krishna speaks for Ishvara and says, I have two natures, two Prakritis, which are Para Prakriti, the higher, and Apara, the lower. This combination is the nature of that Ishvara, who is the Jagat Karanam. Now, according to Vedanta, what is the universe? The whole universe is just an appearance in Brahman. So, Brahman is the word for the supreme reality. Okay? So, that supreme reality is all pervading. It is the principle of pure consciousness. It is sentient. It is independently existing. And in that Parabrahma, there is an appearance. Yeah? And the appearance is brought about by the power of Maya. And Maya is Trigunatmika. We have seen all this in Tattva Bodha, which would be a good text to study for the beginners, where we saw how the Maya unfolds the Tanmatras, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, the Tanmatras, and how they interact with each other and they grossify, and then we have the Panchikrita Panchamahabhutas, then they form this vast creation called the Jagat, all the subtle lokas and the gross lokas, their inhabitants and species, their karmas and roles, and the whole multifarious Jagat is appeared now. All this, Krishna says, is my lower Prakriti. This is the domain of Apara Prakriti. The very word Apara you can appreciate. Na para. Iti Apara. So Apara, Krishna says, is this vast Jagat, which is a modification of my power. That is, the one Parabrahma, by the power of Maya, has manifested as countless Namarupas. Okay. And why is it called Apara? It is called Apara because it's not Para. But what is the nature of Apara? It is dependent. Yeah. So we saw how the power of Maya brings forth eternally the cycle of Srishti. You know, Srishti is on in the day of Brahma, and withdrawn in the night of Brahma. So it's not dependent. No, so avasham, all the jivas, the lokas, are brought forth in a cycle and then they are merged back in the causal state. So apara, because it is dependent, first of all. Second, it is the matter principle. It is a matter principle and it is jadam. No? Matter is always jadam, right? But, we see that this matter around us, the trees are looking alive to me, the flowers are blooming, and all our bodies, we're all walking, talking right now, listening. So how can you say jadam matter, aparas jadam? So then, we can understand that by this flower, Now this flower is part of the Srishti, right? Now this is Namarupa or Apara Prakriti, yeah? But we can appreciate that when I say flower is, yeah, then after a few hours, I will have to say flower is not there anymore, right? Flower is dried, yeah, but now flower is fresh, yeah. So flower is not there, is common. So that is the para prakriti swarupa or what we call sat. Let me take another example, of the pot. Now I say pot is in my hand. Yeah. Then if the pot is broken, I will say the broken pot is. Then I will say clay is, but pot is not there anymore. The form is gone. Then even if the clay, I powder the clay, what will I have to say? Powdered clay is, right? And when that powdered clay merges into the earth, I will have to say Prithvi is. Then Prithvi merges into water in that sequence, water into fire, fire into air, air into space, and space into Parabrahma in the reverse sequence. Yeah. So what I want you to understand is that isness, did it not continue? That is the Sat. So Para Prakriti is eternally there 24/7. It is available as the Adhisthana, Adhara basis for the entire Jagat. For anything to exist, I must have a Adhara, the Sat. And that Krishna says, that is who I really am. And so this Para Prakriti Swarupa is what we understand as Nirguna Parabrahma, whose nature Krishna has already unfolded in which chapter? Second onwards, Sankhya. Yeah, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavakaha. Nothing can cut it, burn it, wet it, dry it. It is never born, it can never die. Yeah, it is all pervading, it is actionless, it is aprameyaha. Aprameya is important. Means para prakriti swarupa we cannot experience as the pot. I cannot hold para prakriti as I am holding the pot. Now I cannot, smell the flower. Doesn't have a smell, but if it was a rose, So para prakriti is not available as an object for experience. And yet without para prakriti's basis, adhara, we can have no experience. Okay. So that is a little subtle point and which, will become clear as we repeatedly study. So this is the twofold nature of Ishvaraha. Yeah. Para and apara. And Krishna is saying exactly this in the 7th, 8th and 9th chapter, and how this Ishvara is a Jagat Karanam by the power of Maya. So what is the role of Para Prakriti? Witness role. It is simply the silent witnessing awareness which is empowering its Maya and unfolding the Apara Prakriti. Just like when we go to sleep, this Apara Prakriti body of ours and the mind, it is all withdrawn into the causal state. Then again we wake up the next morning. Yeah, karma wakes us up and then again activities continue. But what is constant in all the states? That is para. That is what we have to understand, the difference between para and apara. So Ishvara alone is appearing as the entire Jagat. So Krishna has also said earlier that I, as Para Prakriti, I pervade this entire Apara Prakriti, this entire Jagat as its essence. Yeah? Just as the gold is the essence of the golden ornaments, water is the essence of all the waves. So, that Ajaha, Amrityuho, Avikari, Akarta, Abhokta, timeless, formless, nameless, attributeless nature is the higher nature of Ishvaraha. And the lower nature, Apara, is that which is tangible, which is you can transact with it, we can connect to it, it is attractive, it is available to be experienced, and which is familiar to us. Yeah. So, and do we have these two prakritis in us? Yes, otherwise there's no point studying Gita, right? So in us also, as with anything else, there is a Sat and a Chit, higher nature. That is the true nature of the Tvam, the Jiva. And then there is a Apara Prakriti nature, that is the bodies. And the bodies we know, like any Apara Prakriti, is subject to change. It's constantly changing. That's why Shankaracharya says, Drishta Nashta Svabhava. Even as I'm appreciating the tree, the tree has changed. Yeah, even as I'm experiencing anything, the tree has changed. And as we always say, after the Zoom class, our bodies would have aged by 1 hour. Yeah. So that is the nature of apara, dependent, constantly changing, and it's an appearance, and it is the lesser prakriti of Ishvara. And para is that which is the higher, which is independent, and it is the para which is sentient. Yeah, sentient means it is the only sentient thing. Now, our minds have borrowed the sentience from para. Like the example of wherever there is a mirror, there will be a reflection of my face. Yeah. And that reflection is that amsha. So wherever there is a subtle body, a mind, the mind will become conscious. Whether it is the mind of a mosquito, an ant, or us humans, the transaction is possible. The mind will think and plan, and and then the body will follow suit. All the actions, and vyavahara can continue. So this is the combination that Krishna introduced in the 7th chapter, para and apara. Now, can we all connect to para? Yeah, can we all connect to para? Not right away, right? How can my mind connect to its cause? Yeah, how can it connect to the nameless, formless, supreme reality, which is all pervading? Like the thread in this kurta, the thread is all pervading. Kurta I can use, I can see, but the thread I cannot. No? So that is why we can and must connect to Ishvara initially through a name and a form. And that is called Saguna Brahma. Okay? Saguna means that I give the Brahma a form and a name. So a form and a name so that I can connect to Ishvara. So there are so many forms and names to connect to. When we connect to Sri Rama, then Kodandapanihi, and then we have the 24 qualities, Shauryavan, Viryavan, Satyavan, Dharma, Vigraha. All these qualities come to our mind, and the figure of Sri Rama. So then I can meditate on Sri Rama. This is called Upasana. Upasana means the mind dwells on a name and a form for the purpose of meditation or concentration. This is called Saguna Upasana. Then we have Devi. So some people connect to the mother aspect of Ishvara. Ishvara is like a mother, and all nourishing, all sustaining Shakti Mata. And there also we have a Saguna Upasana. Then Krishna, you take Krishna. Krishna is Gita Charya, Radha Vallabha, Devaki Nandanaha. And we can recall all these stories and attributes from the Bhagavatam and again connect to Ishvara in this Saguna Brahma version. So like that, there are countless, Saguna versions. Yeah, and this is called Eka Bhakti. Eka Bhakti is I can connect with my Ishta Devata. So I have the Dhyana shlokas, and then I have that, particular Abhishekam, then a certain kind of offering I will make, and certain bhajans I will sing. Yeah, and then meditations I will do. And that is the thing, that is the Saguna Upasana. What about Nirguna? Who is going to dwell on Nirguna? Para Prakriti Swarupa, the Jignasus and the Mumukshus. Yeah? See, we take Sri Rama. Sri Rama manifested in which yuga? Treta Yuga. Krishna, Dwapar Yuga. Now, will I just connect to Ishvara on Ramanavami day in the form of Rama, or Krishna Janmashtami, or Ganesha on Chaturthi, or Devi during Navaratri? Yeah? So, all these festivals come and go. Yeah? But will I confine my Upasana only to those tithis and those festivals and those times of the year? So then what happens is the mind begins to expand and we begin to see the divine in many other forms in the universe. Yeah? So then I see the divine in the cow, Gomata, on a shaligram. Shaligram is that fossilized stone, right? On which Mahavishnu is superimposed, right? Turmeric. I can make a turmeric Ganesha and begin the puja. So some people are worshipping the sun early morning, Aditya Upasana, or they are worshipping elephant, Gajaha, Garuda, snake, Kumara Puja, Kumari Puja, Suhasini Puja, elders we worship. Then we have Bhumi Vandanam, Nadi Vandanam, mountains, rivers, Ganga, even the five elements. There are temples in our country for the five elements, Akasha, Vayu, etc. So all of them are what? Saguna Brahma. They stand, there are symbols for Ishvara. Yeah. And I can choose any of them. Now, what about this bottle? Can I meditate on this? I can. But if I say this is also Ishvara for me, but there is no emotional connect. Yeah, it is not attractive enough to make my mind dwell upon it. Yeah. One child, in Austria, when I was there once, asked me, can I meditate on Coca-Cola? I said, well, if you keep on doing japa, Coca-Cola, 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 you will gain a certain concentration, But whether the blessing will be there, that blessing that I'm receiving, grace of Bhagavan, that will not be there. So we take a symbol which is loaded with meaning from the Shastras for the purpose of Upasana. So this is our Saguna Brahma Upasana. Now, Nirguna, we don't say Nirguna Upasana because there is no form. So, Nirguna Dhyanam. So, Nirguna Dhyanam is to contemplate on the Para Prakriti Swarupa of Ishvara as my very Atma. And obviously, that is the higher stage, yeah, where I can simply be. I can simply do Atma Chintanam and make the mind flow towards its source, that is the Atma. And that is the higher stage. Earlier we saw, why do we worship various deities? Because there is Sakama Bhakti. Now I'm coming to the pairs Sakama Nishkama. Sakama Bhakti is when I worship or do upasana because of a need, because of a desire. So we have seen, the desire for knowledge, Saraswati blesses me. Health, Dhanvantri can bless me. Power and courage, Durga Devi is there. Wealth, Mahalakshmi is there. If I'm having difficulties due to Rahu, Shani Dasha, I can go to Dakshinamurti temple. Ganesha will remove the obstacles in my life. So we all connect to Saguna, Brahma, Devatas and Devis for what? For obtaining relief and for gaining something. This is called yoga and Shema. So I want something, I want to get rid of something or protect it and preserve it. Yeah. So initially our bhakti will be Sakama Bhakti, as we saw in the 7th chapter. Chaturvidhaha bhajanti mam, ye janaha sukritinor juna. Yeah, the Artha Bhaktas and the Artharthi Bhaktas. Yeah. But now, when the mind matures, now it has already matured into the Virat Bhakti. Virat Bhakti is when I can see Ishvara in many more entities in the world. You know, why does a dancer salute the platform before she begins her dance? Why do we do Bhumi Puja before constructing? Why do we offer Arghyam to the sun at sunrise? Because we acknowledge the divinity in all these things. Even during our bath, we invoke the 7 rivers, Gange, Yamune, Chaiva, in the water that we are going to use. So as we adorn, our hair with flowers and we put tilakam and wear beautiful clothes, that is all alankaram. Alankaram, and that is the Atma Puja in a way. We are doing Abhishekam, we can have that bhavana. The whole culture is one of bhavana. You don't step on money or books because they are seen as Saraswati and Lakshmi Devi. So, but initially the Sakama Bhakti will be there for us to get some sense of security and wealth. Yeah. But then what happens with time? Krishna says that may one upgrade the bhakti to Nishkama Bhakti. Nishkama Bhakti is not seeking refuge in God as a means, but to have God as the goal itself. So that is why Krishna says the majority of the people are what? Tribir gunamayehi bhavaihi idam jagat mohitam. That the whole world is so intensely involved in the Karyam Jagat, in my Apara Prakriti. And they are constantly putting efforts for yoga and kshema, yoga and kshema. But mama param avyayam bhavam ajanantaha, avajananti. They do not know that there is something beyond. There is my higher nature waiting to be recognized. So Krishna says, may the Sakama Bhakti upgrade to Nishkama Bhakti so that one can come from Saguna Brahma Upasana Punyam will bring us to the Nirguna goal. And that is the gain of that knowledge. Now, what is the knowledge of Ishvara's Paraprakriti Swarupa? Rajavidya. That was the title of the last chapter, Rajavidya, Rajaguhya Yoga. So the knowledge, the complete knowledge of Ishvara as not only Saguna, the lower, but Para Prakriti is Rajavidya. And that, Krishna has said many times, is the liberating knowledge. And that knowledge was known as Sankhya in the 2nd chapter. It is called Moksha Vidya, Brahma Vidya, Raja Vidya. Many names are there for it. So now, when we are curious to gain the knowledge of the Paraprakriti Swarupa, then my Vishwarupa Bhakti, that is Aneka Bhakti, will become Arupa Jnana Bhakti. And Krishna has said, however people worship me, Ekatvena, Pritatvena, and in various ways, whether they're worshipping Gomata, or Aditya, or their elders, or, Ganesha, I will encourage all of them, I will support them, and I will make their Shraddha Achala. Ye yatha mam prapatyante tansataiva bhajamyaham. So I will give them the feeling that they will get their phalam sooner or later. I will support them. And udaraha sarve, they are all dear to me. Because they have acknowledged a superior presence called Ishvara. Yeah. But Krishna says, Jnani tu atmaiva matam. But the Jnani Bhakta with Nishkama Bhakti is my favorite. Is the dearest. No favorites for Bhagavan. Yeah, dearest. Dearest because Krishna says that he or she has discovered me in his own heart. There are no more demands, no more expectations, and I am the goal. And they have discovered me in their hearts. Yeah. So this is the Nishkama bhaktihi. And that is why Krishna says, Ye mam prapatyante te eva mama mayam taranti. Those who seek me alone, not what I can give them, they alone will cross over my maya. And today's chapter, we're going to see how that Ishvara's anugraha, brings the seeker out of this maya. Okay. And so at the end of the 9th chapter, we saw that important shloka, Manmana bhavamat bhaktaha matyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktaivam atmanam matparayanaha. So here on the screen, you can see the nature of Parabrahma. So we often refer to this as the 5 capsules of Paraprakriti. Paraprakriti as consciousness is not at all connected with our bodies. Yeah, it's like the electricity, not really connected with the bulb or the filament. But when it passes through, the filament glows. So consciousness or Paraprakriti has the power to make the subtle mind, make it sentient. And it is invisible, aprameyaha, it is independent, and it is not limited to the boundaries of the body. Like space, do you think the space right now in the hall is confined to only the hall boundary? No, it is outside as well as inside. So to consciousness, no? And the consciousness will continue to survive even after the body has run through the course of its life. When the lifespan is over, nothing happens to consciousness. It continues. Then that may be not easy to understand, but we can understand from the great Mahatmas, like Ramana Maharishi, how he suffered from cancer at the end of his life. And when the devotees were crying and wanting him to take remedial action, he refused. No surgery for me, no antibiotics, nothing. Because, when we have eaten off a leaf plate, then will we preserve the leaf plate, or give it to the cow and recycle it? So like that, the body has to go. Body is apara, it is subject to change. And we have exhausted the prarabdha, it has to go. But I will be here, Ramana Maharishi. Where can I go? I will continue. That is the para prakriti or principle of pure consciousness, which neither came nor changes nor can go. Okay. So that is what we saw in these 5 capsules here. And then after the lifespan, and the consciousness, is not available to express through the mind. Yeah. Same example, when the bulb, fuses, the filament fuses, then we throw the bulb away, right? We replace it. So too, the electricity can only manifest through a bulb when the filament is available. So too, consciousness is always there, but it can only manifest when there is a alive jiva's mind available to shine through. Okay. Now, what is the next slide? Yeah, so I was talking about the last shloka, number 34 of chapter 9. So what is the root for everybody? So we don't jump to para prakriti right away, become a jignasu. Yeah, so as Chinmayananda says, evolution, not revolution. Yeah, so go steady. So first is, okay, let us be Sakama Bhaktas, but have devotion to God. And we are already in the culture which we have the practice. When we get new clothes, we offer it to Bhagavan and then wear it, no? And so we have all these samskaras to express our gratitude to Bhagavan. So that is Mad Bhaktaha. Let me become a Mad Bhaktaha. Even for fulfilling my desires. When I get a new car or a vehicle, we do puja, no? We do puja and to the vehicle, and we do even arati. I remember doing that for my car, arati to the car. I did not do it, priest did it. So that is thanking Bhagwan for our needs and possessions. But then let us come to the third step, which is mat parayanaha. Now let Ishvara be the goal. Yeah, I want Ishvara. So that Ishvara is no more a means but a goal. And then we have Manmanaha Bhavaha. That is, my mind is always keeping sight of Ishvara. Whatever I offer, what I wear, what I do, what I receive as prasada, everything is Ishvara Anugraha. Then converting every moment of life into Arpanam, Madhyaji Bhava. Then finally, Mam Namaskuru. Surrender to Ishvara and receiving Ishvara's blessings. So, all this has been covered. How to do this? It's just Karma Yoga, right principles, yeah, Ishwararpanam, and receiving the prasada from Ishvara as the grace. Okay. That was the end of the 9th chapter. Now we enter the 10th chapter today. And in the 10th chapter, there is the title given is Vibhuti Yoga chapter. Now, Vibhuti has the dhatu bhu. Bhu is the verb. Bhu means to become, to manifest, bhavanam. And V is Visheshena, special. So, this is often translated as the chapter of divine glories and manifestations. Vibhuti Yoga chapter. Now, in this chapter, Bhagavan is going to enumerate the various vibhutis, that are manifest in apara. Of course, the maximum glories will be where? In apara. And two in para. We will see which two. And so, you see that now can we appreciate the movement of bhakti. Bhakti is no more confined to one vigraha, no more confined to my puja room or to one particular tithi or to the weekend or morning evening aratis. No, it has to expand to include the entire universe. So wherever I go, that is Ishvara. Whatever I do, for Ishvara. Whatever I receive, prasada of Ishvara. So that is the expansion of the mind, which is called Vishwarupa Bhakti or Virat Bhakti. So worshipping, it is still Saguna only because the cow is Saguna, and the elephant is Saguna, Garuda is Saguna, Shaligrama is Saguna. So this is the medium Bhakti where I am shifting from Eka Bhakti to Aneka Bhakti. So there, Krishna is going to now talk about his glories. Let us take a look. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrinu me paramam vachaha Yatte ham priyamanaya Vakshyami hita kamyaya. So Bhagavan says here that, O Mahabaho, addressing Arjuna. Arjuna as the mighty armed, Arjuna, Shrinu, listen to my Paramam Vachaha, listen to my words again, and which pleases you, Priyamanaya, which are pleasing to you. Now, can you see the difference in Arjuna's mindset now? Compare it with chapter 1, how devastated he was, depressed, closed mind, tamas was there. But now look at the grace of Guru Krishna. He's asking so many intelligent questions. He is brightened up and he's questioning and listening attentively. That tamas is gone from his mind after 9 chapters, right? So now Arjuna is going to ask in this chapter also a question, but Krishna says, Aham Vakshyami, I will now tell you, those glorious words, which is for your hitam. Hitam kamyaya. That which will be beneficial to you, Arjuna. See, this is the role of the Guru. Some of you would remember, we have covered the Prashnottara Ratnamalika of Shankaracharya. In that, there was a question, Guru hu kaha? Who is the Guru? And the answer given was, the Guru is one who is constantly engaged in the hitam, welfare of the Shishyas. How can I contribute? Can I arrange something for my Shishyas? Can I teach? Can I bless them with a prayer? This is the role and attitude of a guru. Here also we can see that Krishna says, Hitakam yaya aham vakshyami, I am going to tell you. Now, so in the first three verses, Krishna is introducing the topic here and says, Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavan na maharshayaha ahamadirhi devana maharshinam cha sarvashaha. So Krishna says that, from me, who are all born, the Saptarishis, the Manus. The Manus are the administrators, for the Manvantara. If the whole yuga is divided into periods of time, then there are Manus. We are all Manavas, descendants of the Manus. But here Krishna says, those who manifested first, the Saptarishis, Vashishta, Atri, Pulastya, all those 7 great rishis, or the Sanakadi, Kumaras, or the Manus, even they don't know my glory. Why? Why would they not know Krishna's glory? Krishna explains here, Aham Adihi. The celestials, they all came later. They manifested later. It's like, saying that we can never say we know everything about our parents. They would have some secrets, right? Which they would not have told us. And even if they told us some secrets, we will never know what all they did in their childhood or teenage years, because they were here earlier and we were late. But they know all about us. So they know what all mischief we do, what is in our mind. Even when you go to distant countries, there is an emotional connect and they can figure out mostly. Yeah, parents can figure out. But here Krishna says that, aham adihi, hi devana maharshinam cha sarvashaha. Then, yaha mam ajam anadim cha veti lokamaheshwaram. So, lokamaheshwaram. Then Krishna says that everything comes from me. So look at the shlokas 4, 5, and so on. Krishna is talking about all the internal manifestations. Buddhihi, Jnanam, Asammohaha, Kshama, Satyam, Damaha, Shamaha. Most of it we have seen in Tattva Bodha also. Buddhihi. How do we understand anything in life? How do we put 2 and 2 together? How do we analyze phenomena rationally? Buddhihi. That's the grace of Bhagavan. Then Jnanam, knowledge, Asammoha, absence of delusion. Then Kshama, forbearance. If I can accommodate people around me, especially in the family, we have to do this. Satyam, the truth. Then Damaha, Shamaha is the mastery. Then Sukham, Dukham, both. The happy situations and the not so happy situations are also me, my manifestations, because prarabdha is Ishvaraha. Then bhavaha, that which comes into being, and abhavaha. Abhavaha means when something has gone back to its seed stage, like the flower. The flower is bhavaha now, but it will go back into abhava. Abhava means the causal state. Yeah. Then, and so on. Bhayam, even fear. Is fear necessary in life? Yes. Yeah. So some fear is healthy, right? Now, the fear of the boss, will help us complete the targets. For the children, they have to have some fear, against the parents, which is no more there today, and fear for the teachers, otherwise the discipline will not come. But most of our fears are 90% are imagined, which we don't need, which we have to overcome. But here, what Krishna is trying to say is however we use our instruments to express an emotion, that is me. I have given you the capacity I have made you, you have a talent, that's my glory. You have a skill, that's my glory. You have a scientist's mind or an athlete's feet, the agile athlete's feet, that is my glory. That is mentioned here. And abhayam. Then ahimsa, samata, tushtihi, tapas, dhanam, yashaha, ayashaha. The fact that we can do tapas, there is contentment, ahimsa, paramo dharmaha, there is balance, samata, there is fame, yashaha, and ayashaha also. The lack of it, bhavanti bhava bhutana, mattaha eva. Mattaha means from me alone. Yeah. So Puja Swamiji would often say, divinize your emotions. Yeah. So if there is some emotion troubling us, anxiety, we can also observe it and see that, it is like a wake up call, something needs attention. When there is pain in the body, don't the doctors tell us you're doing too much stress, you have to slow down. So that is Ishvara giving us a signal to slow down and not to, get into that burnout situation. So like that continues. Then in the 8th shloka, Krishna says here, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So I am the source of everything. Everything proceeds from me. Iti bhajante mam buddhaha bhava samanvitaha. So the wise people, they know this, they recognize Ishvara as a source of everything and they become bhava samanvitaha. Then the 9th shloka is very beautiful. Machchitta madgata pranaha bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So these buddhaha, those who are the Nishkama Bhaktas, they are Machchittaha. Their minds are absorbed and always dwelling on me. Like our forefathers and ancestors, they would always be saying Rama Rama, Sita Rama, Krishna Krishna when they're sneezing or coughing or when they're getting up or sitting down, going to sleep. But it's a constant practice because they want Ishvara Smaranam the whole day. That is mentioned here. And such Buddhas who tushyanti, who are so happy, and ramanti, who revel, doing what? Doing my kirtanam, sharing my sarupa with others, and they narrate my stories. All these upanyasakaras and the kathakaras. Bhagavan is talking about them, the bhaktas who are spreading my glory everywhere. Then the most important shlokas, 10 and 11 of this chapter. Tesham satata-yuktanam bhajatam priti-purvakam. For them, what will Bhagavan do for such people who are Nishkama Bhaktas? And that comes in the 10th shloka. Bhagavan says, Tesham, who are satata yuktas, always connected with me, and who are, reveling in me, and I dadami. I will bless them with buddhi yoga. Buddhi yogam dadami. Tam yena mam upayanti. And buddhi yoga is what we are doing now. Yeah. So, but this shloka number 10 is talking about Ishvara's grace. So, when we develop the Nishkama Bhakti, then we draw the Ishvara's grace. So Ishvara is saying, I will bring them now from this Saguna stage of Virat Bhakti to the final goal, and that is the Arupa Advaita Bhakti. So they are going to discover me in their hearts. How will they do that? I will provide them with the Guru. I will arrange Zoom classes for them. I will take care of their yoga kshema. I will remove all the obstacles from their life. I will give them more opportunities for Shravanam, Maranam, Nididhyasnam. And I will take care of their families also, that they don't disturb their Buddhi Yoga. So this is called the grace of Ishvara. No? So sometimes we may complain, I'm not so lucky, I'm not so fortunate. But this is the internal realization. A true bhakta will see that the grace is really working over time. So this, and now look at the 11th shloka, and some of you would recall the 11th shloka I always post every Deepavali, on every Deepavali every year, because it talks about the lamp of knowledge. तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहमज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थः ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. Tesham, for the same people who are my bhaktas, anukampartham, for the sake of, blessing them out of compassion, what do? I nashayami. Nashayami, that ajnanajam tamaha, the darkness born of tamas in their minds. I destroy the darkness, that is the deha abhimana, the ignorance, which, is involving them in this, binding them to the cycle of karma. I will cut it. I destroy that ajnanajam tamaha, darkness. How? Jnana deepena bhasvata. I light the lamp of knowledge in their hearts. So this is the anukampa, the compassion of Ishvara for these people. And for those of Sakama Bhakti, we have seen also before that a time will come when, despite fulfilling so many desires in life, a time comes when even they will do pariksha. Pariksha is a self-examination. I've achieved so much fame, name, family, property, wealth. I've traveled, qualifications are there, and fixed deposit. And still, what is it I'm seeking? So that is called the Purushartha Nishchaya stage. And then they will also be drawn towards me slowly, and I will give them also Buddhi Yoga and then destroy that darkness of avidya. Darkness of avidya, and light the lamp of knowledge. Yeah. Very beautiful shloka there, which shows us that all these bhaktas, they're going to know my Paraprakriti Swarupaha, and my grace is equally available in abundance to everyone. But it has to be tapped. Yeah? One has to turn towards the Shreyo Margaha and aspire for this knowledge, which means to become a mumukshu, to become a jignasu, so that one day we will enjoy the vision of oneness. Okay? Now Arjuna speaks up. Now Arjuna is going to ask a question, and let us see what that question is. So Arjuna is going to request from verse 12 to 18. Says Arjuna Uvacha, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Vibhum. Bhavan, Krishna, you are Param Brahma, you are Param Dhama, you are the ultimate goal, you are the ultimate, purity, Pavitram. Purusham, you are Shashvatam, Nityam, eternal, you are divine, you are Adideva, you are the foremost, Ajam. But the problem is, how can I meditate on you as this entire creation, as the source of the creation? Yeah, that is too difficult for me. So you've explained your glory, which even the rishis and the manus cannot understand. But look at the 17th shloka. Katham vidyamaham yogin tvam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. Katham vidyam. Yeah, chintyaha. How am I to do chintanam upon you? Paraprakriti is so difficult. Yeah. So, keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. Are there any symbols, any supports, any alambanam by which I can meditate upon, I can do upasana on that? Is there some form to meditate upon? Please tell. This is Arjuna's request. And then even says, Vistarena Atmanaha Yogam Vibhutim cha Janardana. So please tell me in detail, Vistarena. And so now from the 19th shloka up to the end of this chapter, Vibhuti Yoga chapter, Krishna is going to unfold some of the glorious vibhutis in the creation. Now, the vibhuti is also the sacred ash that we apply, but in this context, it is the special manifestations of Ishvaraha. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, 19th shloka, Krishna says, Hantate kathayishyami divyahyaatma vibhutayah pradhanyatah purushreshta nastyanto vistarasya me. Na asti antah vistarasya me. So Krishna says, Arjuna, there is no end to my glories. It is infinite. It is endless. Yeah. But pradhanyatah, hey Guru Shrestha. But some of the important and outstanding glories I will tell you. Yeah. So Krishna is going to give a sample of 75 glories. And they are going to be mentioned. And so we have a whole list of glories, mainly drawn from the stories of the Puranas and the Shastras, which highlight, a special rishi or a person or a king or a phenomena in nature, or a special quality in us, yeah, internal nature, whether it's an internal glory or external glory, we're going to see a list. But Krishna says that this list is by no means exhaustive. And he's going to tell Arjuna, if you find some more glories, you can keep adding. You extend the list. And the list of glories are all from our beloved Bharat Desha. But glories are not limited to our country alone. Germany, so many glories are there. Vani Devi knows. The Isar River is there. Neuschwanstein is one of my favorites castles to go. America, Amazon, Nile in the Egypt, national parks in America. So wherever there is Ishvara's Vibhuti, it can be anywhere. But because we are studying in the context of Mahabharata, the Gita, Krishna is confining to the Bharata Desha glories. Now, let us read. So now Krishna is going to begin. The opening glory is Paraprakriti. Yeah. Paraprakriti, straight away Krishna says that, I am there shining as the light in everyone's hearts. Look at the shloka number 20. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhutashayasthitaha Ahamadischa Madhyancha Bhutanamanta Evacha. O Arjuna, Aham Atma. Hey Gudakesha. I am the Atma which is Sarvabhutashayasthitaha, which is indwelling every being. There is the Atma of an ant, Atma of a sparrow, Atma of Aditya, Atma of a donkey, Atma of a celestial Apsara, Atma of in each one of us. Sarvabhutashayasthitaha. And I am the beginning, I am the middle, and I am the end. Adihi Madhyam Anta. Which means Atma is limitless, boundaryless. So the closest example that comes to Atma is what? Prakash, the Surya Prakashaha and space, Akasha, which does not know any boundary. It is all pervading. Okay. So now we are going to see a list of glories, and most of them are drawn from the Puranas. Okay. So here in the 20th shloka, Krishna points out the Chit glory. Yeah, the Chit means Chaitanyam. Chit means sentience. Sentience means consciousness reflecting in my mind. Not only in my mind, in every subtle mind, consciousness is there. Now this flower has Sat but no Chit, because there is no Sukshma Sharira for the mind. So we say there is no Atma, really speaking. And so the flower cannot know itself. And it cannot know that it is different from a cow. It has no self-awareness because there is no Sukshma Shariram. Whereas we have all kinds of complexes and judgments because of the mind. So the mind is helpful, but it's also harmful. It can make a heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven at any time. Now, if I continue all these glories, it will take a long time. So, what I will do is, these glories, have been explained by me in those verse by verse classes. But since it's a summary class, in the next session, I will talk about these glories. Okay. But for now, we will skip to the end of the chapter and complete the summary. And in part 2, on Friday, I will recite the glories. Now, what are the glories we're likely to see? Let me show you a beautiful slide prepared by our dear Hema, if you remember. We lost her to cancer last year, but she has made this chart with the help of her family. Beautiful chart here. I will share it in the group. The 75 glories of Ishvara. So the glories as an avatara or the Vedas in animals, and who is the greatest devotee, Arjuna and Prahlada, the trees like Ashwatha, the 5 elements, sun, moon, the stars, then Sanskrit also, Deva Bhasha, Dvandva Samasa is there, then the thunderbolt, Vajram of Indra, then the months, Vasanta Ritu is the spring, then Margashirsha is the month, December month, that is my glory. So like that, we will see on Friday all these beautiful glories of Ishvara. And also the human qualities, internal glories, external glories. And most of this we would have studied in, in the Bhagavata Purana, or if we were fortunate, our grandparents would have told us all about, the elephant of Indra and Garuda and all these instances, which are all divine glories. Now so Krishna gives a list why for Arjuna to fix his mind on any glory, any glory, so that he will connect to the divinity. Now, in Sanatana Dharma, there is no concept of evil. Yeah, because Sattva, Rajas, Tamas belongs to Maya, and Maya belongs to Brahman. So if somebody is extremely tamasic, then the conduct will be unacceptable. But that is also Maya, avidya Maya. And so, the yogi goes beyond dharma and adharma, beyond good and evil. The next chapter is going to show us that. How to see not only the divine in everything of the universe, but to see the whole universe in Bhagavan. So there is a twist there. So for now, we will skip the list of, all this Ashwatha, Narada, all the names, and we'll go to 39. Now, in the 39th shloka, Krishna gives once again a para prakriti vibhuti. Yeah? Opening vibhuti was chit, and now it is sat. Let's chant the shloka 39. Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyat maya bhutan characharam. So Krishna says, be it chara or achara. Chara means sentient, moving like us. Achara means like the table and the pot, non-moving. Whatever, sarva bhutanam bijam, I am the seed for all. And nothing can exist without my being there. So this is obviously referring to the Sat, or the pure existence of Para Prakriti. Now we have to also understand that Chit and Sat are not two glories, but referring to the same glory. Sat is Chit and Chit is Sat. So the Para Prakriti glory is really just one, but 3 points of view. Chit means sentience and Sat means pure existence. So 39 shloka, Krishna has pointed out that I am that Satyam, Nityavastu, Bijam for everything. You know, the whole apara has manifested from me. Then in 40, Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa esha tudeshata proktaf vibhute vistaro mayam. So 41, Krishna says that there is no end to my glories, Arjuna, and if you find any glory, some people, the scientists are discovering new asteroids and K2 planets, uh, in the sky. So those are also glories. So Krishna says, you add them to your list. If you want to meditate on something really awesome and wonderful, go ahead. But I have given you the familiar glories, so far, about 75 of them. And 2 are Para Prakriti glories, Sat and Chit, and the others are Apara Prakriti. Then 41, Krishna says, Yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam srimadujitame bhava tattadevavagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. So yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam. So whatever you see in the world, as a glory in 41, whatever is manifest, that Krishna says is Amsha Sambhavam. It is just a infinitesimal fraction of me. That is, Krishna is saying that whatever is manifest, whatever is known to us, it is just 1/4, 1/4 of me. So whatever is manifest is 1/4 of me. So Krishna is meaning to say that, the 3/4 you do not know. Yeah. So you do not know means Krishna is saying the nature of Para Prakriti is the whole. Yeah? Whereas all these vibhutis are fragments. Yeah, they're all Saguna Brahma. They are indicators only. They are alambanam or objects to meditate upon. Whereas you come to this Raja Vidya, the knowledge of the whole. We look at the last shloka, which is very beautiful, called the Bija shloka. Athava bahunaiteen kim jnateen tavarjuna vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam ekamshena sthito jagat. Eka amshena sthitah jagat. This vast jagat, scientists are exploring all the time. And they keep discovering gravitational space and then this planet, this asteroid. But still they say, when we come to the frontiers of space, we find there is some dark matter beyond it. We cannot fathom it. It's unfathomable. That is what Krishna is saying here. Whatever is known, whatever is discovered, whatever is manifest, eka amshena sitaha jagat. That part is just 1/4, of me. Then Vishtabhya, I uphold this entire Idam Kritsam Jagat with just one part, one fraction of myself. Athava Bahuna Etena Kimnya Tena Tavarjana. So Krishna says, then of what use is it to you? You will only know 1/4. So, isme kaun si badi baat hai? Yeah. So Krishna is gradually, prompting Arjuna and through Arjuna to all of us that we have to gain the knowledge of the whole. Yeah, the whole. Where is the 3/4 now? That is all about Jnana Bhakti. The Para Prakriti Swarupaha. So this Ekarupaha and Virat Rupaha, this is still finite. It is limited. Limited by Desha Kala Vastu Parichinna. The 3-4 limitations will be there. But do you know me as Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna Para Prakriti Swarupaha Nirguna Para Brahma? I want you to gain that Raja Vidya. So all this is just one pada of my glory. So, now can you see how this shloka brings about a twist? Initially, I want to see Bhagavan in each and every being in the Srishti, in the world. But now Krishna wants us to see the whole world as the form of Bhagavan, in Bhagavan. And that is an indication for the next chapter, which is chapter 11, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga chapter. So I'll close with a very interesting analogy given in the Mandukya Upanishad. You may know that the Mandukya Upanishad, the main prakriya is avasthatraya prakriya. That is the three states of consciousness: sleep, waking, and dream. But what is the constant, invariable in all the three states? That is the I. When we say in the beginning, I went to school, Bharati Vidya Bhavan, which I did only for 2 years. Then I changed school, went to a convent. Then I graduated, from Delhi University. Then I did my post graduation. Then I traveled. We then got married, perhaps. Then I became a parent, and then I resigned my job. Then I retired. Then I became a grandparent. Then I performed my Shashtiabdi. Then now I'm a senior citizen, and I will celebrate Shatabdi next year. So now Krishna wants us to examine what is constant in all of this. I. Balyadishvapi jagridadishu tatha sarvasavasthasvapi. Dakshinamurti Sotram says, in all the Balya, Vriddhavastha, all these, and in the three avasthas, Jagrit, Sapna, Sushupti, you're always saying I. Who is that? That is me, Krishna, Para Prakriti. That is the observer, Nityavastu, which is observing all the changes and the milestones achieved in life. So in the Mandukya, there is a mention of the fourth, which is not a state, which is called Turiya. How to understand this is, you remember in earlier, in the last decade or so, or maybe even now, do we still have the 1 rupee coin? It's still in circulation, right? But in our times, they were 25 paisa coins. Remember? So 25 paisa is 1/4, right? 50 also was there, no? 50 is half, right? And 75, I don't think. Then whole. Now, the 1 rupee is divided into 4 quarters: 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Now, can any quarter exist without the 1 on the top? No, right? So Krishna says, I am that 1. I am constantly there as Nitya and that 1/4 is just a quarter. So all these glories are just 1/4, but know me as that significant 1, without which you cannot have any quarter, any 25 paisa, 50, 75, nothing. So I am the whole, and that knowledge of the whole is Paravidya or Rajavidya. And that is why he says in the end, of what use is all this glories to you, Arjuna? No, and this is still finite only. It's just a fraction of my infinite nature. So next chapter, 11th, which we will begin after enumerating the glories on Friday, is again Arjuna's curious and wants to see everything in the body of Ishvara. So the next chapter is a very dramatic chapter, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga chapter, number 11, and we will see it next session. Om Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.